Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast, going live tonight on October 2nd, Wednesday of 2024. I'm here with Ron and his cat, who's given us quite the show here.
My goodness gracious. I mean, it's YouTube, it's OnlyFans, it's, your body painting later. This is just, all the stops are out tonight. It's just almost like a Jerry Lewis telethon.
And I noticed that you've gone a little bit off camera to the side so you can have her right in the center.
Sure, that was intentional. The camera got knocked down again, and so it gets put back up. Yeah. I was on camera earlier today when I did my baseball pre-play for the playoffs, and in typical Ron Juckett fashion, one of the teams I had making the ALCS was eliminated today in the first round. So Houston isn't going, but it's a sim. Full credit, by the way, to Dave Cook and his staff.
Okay.
Not only did they get the file out with the 12 teams for the second day, or I bought it this morning, so it might have been out yesterday or this morning, but he also had the correct rosters.
Oh, nice.
Chris Sale, who, remember, pitched for the Red Sox and was always hurt, went to Atlanta, had a great year, is not on the playoff roster because he got hurt, wasn't on Dave's roster either. And Justin Verlander wasn't on Houston's roster. So not only did they get him out, but they got the rosters right, which is incredible as far as I'm concerned. So
fantastic.
So that's what the video I did today was that. There are certain people that root for the Eagles that are quite happy right now.
Right. So anyway, ways to get a hold of us. Digitaltodice.com is the website. I think that's working again. 978-751-DICE is how you can send us a text message. Digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And if you'd like to support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/digitaltodice is the way you can support the show here. So what we thought we would do tonight, it's been craziness here for Ron and I, me and Ron, however you want to say it. And
just laughing at the cat.
The cat is having a heck of a time back there. She is going to make this video right here. She really is. So we thought we'd just kind of get you caught up what's going on with us. We'd have a fireside chat. We want to talk about Pete Rose. We've had some terrific suggestions from some of the listeners of the show. And there's one really fantastic question was posted on our Facebook group, and we're going to read that question later and read the results and then ask you what your answer would be to that question. What a fantastic question that was.
Yes.
And I haven't answered it yet, and I'm not even sure what I would do, but we'll have to do that here. As Kent comes by, he says, hello, Dave and Tun.
How you doing, Kent?
So, Tun, is that going to be your new name, Tun? He did correct it afterwards. I know what it's like to type it. You got my fingers typing on my phone. It never works. Charles comes by, too. Thanks for coming by.
How are you, Charles?
So, anyway, kind of what's been going on with me, it's just been work. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday were 12 or 13-hour days, going from one rink to the other, or just being at one rink for 12 hours or 13 hours. It's been fun doing all that play-by-play, but it's also a lot. And it's just tiring. Being and the rinks are cold. They're not freezing, because it is, October. But they get cold, and if you're in a rink for 4 or 5, 6 hours straight, you start getting cold. Like my nose gets red, and then I come home and the wife's like, "Your nose is all red." It's like, oh, well, that's what happens when I'm in hockey rink. It's been fun, but boy, it was a lot. It was a real lot. Saw some great hockey. Learned some new pronunciations from some of the French players. But yeah, it was a busy, busy weekend. So now I'm backed up on my regular work. I'm backed up on my sleep. I sat there the other night. I come home and I'm just like, I was exhausted. And I'm like, I so want to play something right now. And I'm just too tired to get off the couch to play. But I would dying to play either Apple football or Apple hockey, or getting back to my Action PC football product from 1979. And I just couldn't do it. I just don't have that in me right now to go and do anything like that. So I've been enjoying watching some of the other guys play. I know Ron's been playing a few things and a few other people. So I have been enjoying that. So so as far as it goes, it's just been work. Oh, and then so last week, I don't know if we haven't been on in a while, I brought my car in to have it looked at because there was a problem. I couldn't connect with it on the internet, meaning that you're supposed to get notifications on your phone with what's going on with your car. And I couldn't connect, so they thought it was the modem in the car. I guess the car has a modem that dials out. And so I brought it in, and the dealership couldn't figure anything out and this and that. So they finally suggested, they said, hey, your battery's 5 years old or 6 years old. This car's 5 or 6 years old. Let's put in a new battery. Okay, I'll probably need one anyway. So we put the new battery in. Everything works. Right? It wasn't the modem. It just wasn't. The battery might have been too weak to power all the extra stuff. So everything's working. I'm great. I'm good to go, right? I'm good to go for the winter. And Sunday morning at 6 o'clock, I get ready to drive to central Massachusetts for my 12-hour day. And I get to the end of the street, and I get an error message on my dashboard. It's a battery problem. And so I looked it up real quick on my phone, and it says, do not drive because the battery might die, and then everything dies in the car. I'm like, that's just great. 6 o'clock on Sunday morning, and I'm ready for a 12-hour work day, and it goes off. So I had to go home and get the wife's car and take that. Long story short, I brought it into the dealer, and they're like, well, we can't look at it for 2 weeks. And I says, no, you just put a battery in. I'm getting a battery message error. This is something that you did that needs to be fixed. I says, chances are it's something stupid like a loose wire or something. I says, you need to look at it. So after screaming at each other for a few minutes, I said, look, just have the guy look at it. And if it's a big deal, fine. I'll make an appointment for a couple of weeks. But if it's something stupid that he overlooked, it needs to be fixed immediately. I can't be waiting 2 weeks to have you go back and correct your work. And so luckily the next day he called me up and says, yeah, we had to reset the meter or something like that, but you're all set. So it was something stupid. But just the idea that everything takes 2 weeks to fix, to get an appointment. So I ended up saying the hell with it. And so while I was sitting in the shop, I went down to another dealership, and I ended up finding a used vehicle that I'm going to buy. It's like 3 years old. It's newer than the one I have. So now I just have to worry about, and luckily they fixed the problem, but I was sweating out whether I could get my vehicle to the other dealership to trade it in, because if it's not going to drive. So I sweated that out for a couple of days. So that was fun, having to go and work 3 12-hour days and then sit all day at a dealership, arguing with one dealership and then getting a car at the next dealership. Fun times. So no, I haven't played anything. I've thought about playing something really hard, And the other funny thing that happened was, so I'm just going through the house today, and we have this closet with paper plates and stuff in downstairs, and I've been eyeballing. I got Gatorade and water in there, so I pulled out the Gatorade and the water. And says, I might as well start using this stuff instead of buying new stuff. Well, some of the Gatorade was expired in 2021.
Oh,
yeah, that's a little long for Gatorade. Because I looked at it.
3 years is a bit long.
It was an orange Gatorade, and I looked at it and says, boy, this orange Gatorade is really transparent. I says, I don't remember buying the transparent orange. I like the nice thick orange, And I go, wonder how long it's been in there. So I must have bought that during COVID, stuck it at the bottom of this cabinet, and just never took it out. And so I had to dump out 16 bottles of Gatorade that I have. And I love my Gatorade.
We used to get that delivered because the only time you could get it was during COVID, was to have it delivered. And the shelf life on that stuff isn't very long.
Yeah.
My mom's second husband worked at a gas station in New Mexico, and it was the first self-serve station I'd ever seen. So late 79, early 80. We were all full service up here. What do you mean you pump your own gas? And so all they had to do was make change. And there was a garage there, but it wasn't like a mechanic. And so the garage was full of cases and cases and cases of Diet Shasta.
Oh, wow.
That probably had never been sold. They had a soda cooler there. It was one of those old ones for bottles, and you just pull it out. Mm-hmm. So, Coke and Sprite. So they kept that stocked. But cases and cases and cases of Diet full of saccharin Shasta.
Do they even sell that anymore?
Shasta?
Do they sell it?
I have no idea.
So how old is this stuff?
well, this was 45 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Probably 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
It was starting to eat through the cans. I mean, it was.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Some of the stuff obviously is regional, and other things are national. But yeah, I mean, we never drank it. I mean, just cases of it. Absolute, yeah. So I feel you. Being a little kid and seeing all the soda and know that you can't touch it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I ended up dumping all that. I had some water there, too. In fact, this is one of the waters here. I'm like, it looks like 23, so that's only last year, so I might drink the water.
The water, it's actually because we buy all of our drinking water. It's not that the water goes bad. It's that the plastic starts to leak into the water, so really? The taste may change.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Usually it's a 2-year shelf life before that happens.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I found here today. So it's been an interesting day with just vehicles and work and now I have that stuff there.
The science portion of the Digital Advice podcast continues.
I can't believe I had that stuff in there, stuffed in the way in the back. Usually I'm pretty good about rotating my stock, but I guess.
So have you used all the toilet paper?
Oh, I'm getting worried about that now with the strike.
Oh yeah.
The dock strike. Now I got to worry about that. So, oh man, that's not what we need right now in this country. The prices are bad enough. We don't need people trying to get a 77% raise, or they're going to hold the country hostage and hurt people like me and you and everybody in the chat room. That's not right. That needs to be fixed. Anyway, let me see. Ben stops by.
How you doing, Ben?
And Gary. Hi, Gary. And
how you doing, Gary?
We played Dugout. And Kent says, he's in North Carolina, so things are absolutely nuts over there.
Yeah.
The entire town is gone. Yes, I don't doubt that. And this is terrible.
That's one of the interstates they have hope to open again by September of next year.
Oh, man. Excuse me. There was
I saw that tonight.
We did the roller hockey show. We did the roller hockey show noon on Wednesdays. And they're supposed to start playing this weekend down in Tennessee, and there's teams from I think Florida, Atlanta, Nashville, and North Carolina, and they have to drive a long way to play these things. Right. But 3 or 4 times a year, they're going to make a drive on the weekend and play each other. And the team was from Asheville, North Carolina, I think it was, and that's the town that's wiped out, and their hockey rink is gone. So they don't even have a hockey rink, so they had to cancel their games, and it's just so bad. I mean that thing came in and they knew it was going to be a disaster, but it looked like Florida was going to take it the worst, but it just curled up and oh man.
You can't predict Mother Nature. You can try, but
no, it's terrible. There was not to make light of any situation like that, but it must have been fake because there was somebody put I shared it on Facebook about a weatherman that was talking about the hurricane. It had to be fake. There's no way they would let this go on the air. But anyway, this dude was talking, and he's just like, so here's Hurricane Helene. Look at this thing, how big it is. And this is going to come through Florida and Georgia, and this is going to cause all kinds of devastation. And he says, and ironically, that's my ex-wife name is Helene. We just got divorced this weekend, and if this thing's anything like her, it's going to totally destroy this entire path here. And then he says, and in Tampa, guess what? Her parents live in Tampa. Why would you live in Tampa? I don't know. But you know something? This hurricane's going to come in, and it's going to wreck you like your daughter wrecked me. And he was going on and on about it.
If that's real, he's looking for a new job.
Yeah, it was just, there's no way that can be real. But it looked good. He had the whole map behind him and all the things. And he's like, here's the hurricane. And he goes, whoa, look at this, purple. He goes, we've never seen purple on this map before. I couldn't even tell you what purple is, but it's probably not good. And oh man, yeah, it was a funny video, but it was at the same time the whole situation is just terrible. It really is.
By the way, this is the I Need Jester episode. Naples, Fort Myers, at the Swamp, Everglades.
Oh, is it? Yeah, 239.
Yeah,
nice.
239.
Nice. Charles says he has relatives down. Oh boy, yeah,
Ugh.
yeah.
Ugh.
This is not good. Arnold comes by as well.
How you doing, Arnold?
If anybody's playing football tonight, they're going to miss an extra point because Cutter Historical comes by, and he is he's just notorious for stopping in chat rooms and having extra points go wide. So just letting everybody know, anybody that's playing a football game right now.
So that's why if you do it after 94, you could always adopt the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, you might have to. You might have to. You know what I did one time? It was so bad, and I forget what game it was.
How bad was it?
It might have been Pro Strategy Football. It might have been that game because Action PC doesn't allow you to do this.
They, by the way, before you, it's been sent to Apple for approval, so you'll be able to play that soon on the Mac.
I'm trying to think if it was that. There was one game I played, and I don't remember if it was on the computer or if it was on the cards. I want to say it was on the computer. And the extra point was the guy was so bad at kicking, I went for the conversion, the 1-point conversion with a play from the 2-yard line. Because you don't have to kick it. You can actually run a play for the single point. And I did that, and I got it. And I laughed because I was like, there's a better chance of me getting...
Remember seeing that once in the NFL?
Yeah, I remember seeing it one time, too, that they ran a play for the point.
It wasn't very often. It might have been because the kicker got hurt, but
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember where it was, what game it was, because Action PC, they line up for the point. You don't have an option to do it. And maybe Pro Strategy is the same way. So I don't remember what game it was, but I lined up for the play. I didn't go with the conversion. I think it said, you want to kick the extra point? It said, no, line it up and go for it. We went for it, and we got one. We got the 1 point. But so wow. I've done that before because the kicking has been so bad, And Charles says there's some particularly bad kickers in fast track football teams. Oh, yeah. Everything I'm doing now, I mean, I'm playing the 79 playoffs, just to play. Well, I did the whole season, and then I'm doing the playoffs. And I, how many points I missed during my replays? I was playing, one game a week, like a game of the week type of thing. And, boy, I was missing kicks left and right. It was, and that was back in the day where they were, 17 yards, kicking from the 7 or the 9 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Good, extra points aren't gimmies. I think Matt Barr, I forget who's kicking in my 81 Solitaire Pro, is like a 1 to 45. So there's a 10% chance he's missing the extra point.
Yeah, it's amazing how bad the kickers were, So anyway, now you've been having a fun time over there, too. I noticed that you're not going to be doing anything until next week. So what's been going on up there?
Right, well, with Pete Rose passing away, I guess rather unexpectedly. I saw pictures of him at card shows over the weekend with Dale Murphy and some of the Big Red Machine. The autopsy came out, and it was heart disease and diabetes that killed him at 83. But he was still getting around up until the very end. I was going to do a doubleheader on Tuesday. Why couldn't I do Monday? There was some reason I couldn't do Monday. So I was I was tired. Let's back up a bit. So let's go back to last Thursday. And so we got a note. They're finally, doing the inspection tests for our brand new fire alarm system that they've been working on all summer. I meant for this 88 replay to be done about now would be when the World Series should be finishing up. But because of the constant construction, we'd lose a couple days here and a couple days there. I mean, at the end of the season, but the real playoffs have started, and I started my season in January. Okay, so, a couple months in advance. So last Thursday was in the morning. Okay, we're going to go to apartment and test out the finished system. It rang 6 or 7 times in the apartment.
You said it was pretty loud, right? So it's
pretty loud. It is. How did I describe it on Facebook? If you took one of those backup beepers and put it on the back of like Andre the Giant's truck, okay, it'll wake you up. It's not an annoying buzzer, but it certainly will grab your attention. So that went through Thursday and missed my time and whatever. And Friday, the fire department was supposed to come, and they were going to just do it once and then be done with it. So before my person came on Friday morning, the housekeeper that comes on Friday morning, Sarah's out to Dunks to get a snack, and it went off for 10 minutes straight. Now, again, it's not as bad as it could be, but 10 minutes of that is about 8 minutes too long. So nothing got finished last week. Was pretty tired over the weekend. Was looking at my schedule. I mean, I'm down to the last 9 or 10 days of the season. So important doubleheader. You got the Red Sox and Blue Jays fighting for first place. Toronto just took over first place again. And Oakland's on the verge of being eliminated. So I figured, okay, do a doubleheader on Tuesday, do a game today, and Thursday. Well, having a meeting on Thursday, so I couldn't do Thursday. And Pete Rose died, and so I ended up doing a tribute game, which they won, which is unusual,
Nice.
as you know, from my channel, that, and it didn't look that way. The Reds scored 7 in the bottom of the 8th. I did the 69. His best year was 69. So I did the Reds were a good team, and they played the Braves. Didn't pick a real game. And the Braves were going to win, and the Reds scored 7 in the 8th to win. Rose slid into third, caused an error, had a couple hits. He actually played well in his tribute game.
Good.
So I didn't want to do a split-day doubleheader. And Friday, being that I'm over 50, it's my annual turn to be the pincushion. Mm-hmm. Shot for this, shot for that. And then think they're going to talk me into my shingle shot, too. I can't wait for that. So Friday was out, so I lost the rest of the week. And so what I did today was did the pre-play for the Major League playoffs because that was released, as I mentioned in the beginning. And, of course, Houston, which made my ALCS, crashes out in the first round. So I'll be doing stuff, but it just won't be in that live window. The other thing I'll be doing, never done before on the channel, I bought Dave Cook got the WNBA season out.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a Caitlin Clark game.
Nice.
Just because, yeah. So,
nice.
So it's not that I'm not busy, but it's been
you can't stream when you have all the alarms going off and stuff like that, So when they're
want a new car,
well, it's just when they're doing electrical work or internet work or something like that that's causing disruptions. Yeah, you can't do it.
Well, we tried that way back in the summer when they were drilling, and then there was a one day that they were drilling and it would cut off the internet and all that. So no, I mean it's been rough, but we got it done.
Michael comes by. Hi, good to talk to you, Michael.
How you doing, Michael?
Michael's been doing some work down there in Connecticut. We're trying to shore up the dates in May for our East Coast meetup. Attentively, the name is Digital to DiceCon. I think that's the tentative name right now. We're going to try to come up with something better if we can, but that's what we're going to try to do there. Is name it something around the show. And boy, we're slowly adding some pretty good guests to this thing. I don't want to give it away too much, but I've been contacted by 3 or 4 or 5 well-known people in the gaming world that want to come to this thing.
Jeremy Swayman, I can't believe he wants to come to this. Of course, he's not going to play this year for the Bruins.
That whole thing it sours everything. You're offered $8 million for 8 years as a hockey goalie, and you turn it down. That's going to sour the team. It's going to sour the fans, and he's in a win situation right now in Boston, because if they do sign him and they do meet demands, and he doesn't win the cup or he doesn't play well, he's going to hear about it. He's going to get booed out of town, and they're going to send him away. So
and Allmark's in Ottawa.
Yeah, so they got rid of Allmark. They went with Swayman, and now he's going to use this leverage. So the Bruins were not smart. They should have signed Swayman, got that out of the way, and then figured out, they had the 2 best goalies in the league, and now they're going to end up with none. Because Swayman getting greedy, that locker room, they're not going to like him in the locker room when he gets greedy like that.
Wasn't it true, though, that that Swayman's camp didn't know about the 8 for 8 until after the Bruins went public with it?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's always a he said thing when it comes to those things. But so the other thing that I picked up was Strat Hockey, the new version of Strat Hockey. And I have to post, because Facebook, in their infinite wisdom, I get why they do this, by the way. Let me start with that. Any post in a group that has multiple pictures is being flagged as spam. And
really?
Those of us who run groups aren't told that. Mm-hmm. You have to, when we go to improve somebody, is when we see the spam, then you check to see, who's looking for Amazon workers and all that. So legitimate posts aren't getting posted, but they're not telling the moderators or the admins, in our case, that there's pending posts. And so I've done I posted the first look video and a full game with that between the Rangers and Dallas, the top 2 teams. point getters in each conference last year. And the Rangers blew, what's the most scariest lead to have in hockey? A 3-goal lead. And apparently for the Rangers in the first period, that was the case because they ended up losing 6-3. They won game 2 in a shutout 5-0. I just kind of exploded, but I haven't posted the screenies of that yet because I don't really want to go through and argue with that. Thank you, Larry.
Thanks for coming by, Larry.
So, but that's been fun. There really isn't. There's new reports and all of that. I mean, it's a mature game, so there's not much to change, but it is fun. I haven't enjoyed that, and my apologies to the fans of the Rangers and the Stars for my hack of pronunciations. Of
the game is pretty much the same. You said
pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the same.
The one thing I noticed that I don't have it yet, but one thing someone said was that, or at least that was on the description, is that it's going to make it easier now to see who has the puck.
There are new animations.
But back in the day, you had the 5 guys laid out, and the puck was there, and it was like, man, who has this puck? And sometimes you weren't sure. So that was supposed to be, changed.
So there are some new animations, and I think the one thing that for when you go to choose who you want to take the inside shot, when it lists the 5 players on the ice, it will tell you outright now not only what the intimidation rating is of their opponent, but their penalty rating. Now, I always intimidate anyway. I just think it's fair. You always want even someone with a 1.
Yeah.
There's a lot of modern skaters who don't hit. There's always a chance it gets taken away and possible penalty, and the flip is a 1. And so the puck is taken. So you always want to do it. You never want to give away the higher percentage shot if you don't have to. So that's there, and that's going to be handier for old. It's already come in handy because I don't remember which team it was, but one of the opponents had an intimidation rating of 12. And so, no, you don't score enough for me to have you leveled, and I don't need to draw a power play.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking through, and again, one of those things where the leading penalty minute getter in the NHL last year was somebody from Arizona at 153 penalty minutes. So, most players are Ds this year. I think the Rangers have 2 Cs, and I think Dallas might have a B, but everyone else is Ds. But when you play an older season, you'll be able to tell, okay, do I want to, do I take the chance of getting hit and maybe drawing the penalty? So that's clever. I like that. And the other thing is, I think it also, when you go to change, it'll tell you the offensive and defensive ratings of your opponent while looking at it if you're playing against if you're playing against the computer. I'm not sure if that was there before. So little subtle things.
Yeah.
And the black background on it. They've kind of bagged the improved interface. They added black to the original interface.
Okay.
A little easier on
things
the
like
eyes.
that, yeah. Let's see. Ray was saying we don't need a high-paid goaltending. You just need a guy who gets hot for 16 games. Yeah, I mean, to a point, that's true. I mean, you definitely need a goalie that's going to do it. I mean, sometimes you switch up and you go with 2 different goalies in the playoffs. But, yeah, it's who gets hot at the right moment, but you still want the best guy in there. I mean, there's some teams, that just don't have goaltending that should go a lot deeper, but without a bona fide goalie, they're not going to do it. VL wants to talk some wild card games. Yeah, I know. It just kind of happened that we were talking about some of the stuff here. It's kind of a fireside chat tonight. This is episode 239. We're going live. We got a few things we want to talk about here for sure with you guys, and things that we're just going to kick around. But we're just kind of getting into what's been going on with us and in the world lately too.
Right.
Let me see. David C. comes by. Hope everything is going well. Yeah, well, you missed the first part of the show. Things haven't gone well for either one of us, really, but things aren't terrible neither, that's for sure. Richard, I'm playing more second season. Gotten bored with Apple football. Do I need a break? No, it was one of these things. I really was getting into the solitaire pro football. Somehow, when I played that with Mike down in Canton, that just started to speak to me again for some reason. And so I really get into that. And what I like about the solitaire pro football, out of all the football games I have that are full play, I can play that one the fastest. That one just, and again, it's not about the speed, I get it, but, I can play that in maybe an hour. No, was it hour? hour and a half, I think I can fly through that game. And the Appas and the second seasons and all the rest of them, they take me a good 2.5 hours for sure. But I think I got it down under 2 hours. I forget the actual time, but that if I get going at a pretty good clip and I don't keep stats, I just use the Al Wilson board on the table to see where I am, and I just keep track of the drives on a notebook. I got it down to
about 2 hours using the stats on the helper.
Oh yeah, you were flying through that,
Yeah.
I still got my app sitting right over here on the table, and I've been dying to pull that out and play. But it just, when I've been into the busy season here since I got back from Canton, I find it easy just to pull out the team sheets for second season in Solitaire Pro and play a game, and just play a not part of a bigger project, just play something for fun. And it's just so lately that's what I've been going to. I've been going to the quicker setup games where I don't have to, spend 20 minutes getting my lineups and doing a game and setting up the helper or whatever. I do miss it. Absolutely, I do miss it. But it was just, I just took I don't want to say I took a break, but I just enjoyed playing some of these other games since I was getting into football. So that's kind of what it is. But no, I need to get back to the Appa football and the Appa hockey. One game I did play, though, I probably should talk about this real quick, was Football Fury from Play.
No, we did that a couple of weeks ago on the stream on the channel.
Yep, I enjoyed that. Again, Keith sent me a copy, and then I turned around and I placed a pretty good size order with Play with teams, and I bought the mat, and I bought the World Football League for second season. So I tried to do my part with that. And so what I'm going to do with Football Fury is I've already played a couple games. There's 4 teams that come with the game, and that's what the teams that we played and had a good time with.
Right.
And so what I did is I played a couple of them. So I'm going to play everybody a couple of times. So I went back to back. So I think I had, I don't know, L.A. and Houston, whoever the 2 teams were.
That's what we did in New York and another Chicago.
In Detroit, I think it was. So those are the 4 teams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them play a short season and play my playoffs and get a winner. I have 20 teams sitting over here that came in the expansion. And I'm going to probably do maybe even a live show and roll some dice and have some theatrics with it and figure out which 4 teams are going to join the original 4 teams and play in the next season. That's what I think I might do. I might even be tempted to, roll the dice and give a small percentage for one of the original teams to fold to bring in another team. You know what I mean? So I've been having fun with the Football Fury because A, it's fictional and that you don't know the players. B, I don't want to say I have my own rules, but I inserted an extra kicking rule into the game where you can kick for the extra points and you can punt and go for field goals, which I think that's already been in there. But I kind of just have my own kicking thing in there, and I think that really kind of added to my enjoyment of the game without wrecking the game, I don't think. And so I've been enjoying some of that very much. And that's a game that you can say takes, 5 to 10 minutes to set up. But that's why I've been playing back-to-back games, because the games go quick. The game's 15, 20 minutes. And I've assigned each team a coach, because I have the coach cards, which are so much fun.
Those are fun.
It just keeps it, because when you play solitaire,
we had so much fun with those.
Yeah. Well, when you play solitaire on the mat or the table, it tells you when you roll the dice, what's going to be a run, a pass, or audible, and the kid picks your defense. But the coaches, there's a little variation in all the coaches, and so I'm just kind of blindly picking a coach and handing it to a team, and so it's just not always the same. A 4 is not always the same for every team. Is what I did, and it just makes it fun. I haven't used the strategy cards, even though they look fantastic. It's just because it's going to, make the game longer and make me make more decisions. So I haven't used the strategy cards yet, but I really, really am enjoying it reminds me kind of like a shootout hockey game where it plays that fast, and I'm enjoying the fictional part of it. Let's see. Stephen comes by. Thanks for coming by, Stephen. Ben asked me, have you tried Al Wilson's fast action cards for Fury Football? No, I haven't, actually, Ben.
Ooh.
I have not tried that. That's interesting. Sports Flicks comes by. Love the soccer-style relegation for fictional leagues. And Richard Beats joined us as well. So many options with Fury Football. So many things you can do. Let me tell you what I do for my kicking. So what they did is when they added the expansion to the team, they allowed for kicking. So at any point, you can roll 2 dice or 3 dice. And whatever that number is, that's as far as the kick goes. And if you get it over the goal line, then you get points. So if you're, 10 yards away and you roll and you get a 10, then you get 10 points. But, that you've essentially kicked the ball away and the other team I think they get the ball at midfield is what it does after you kick. If it doesn't reach the goal line, then wherever the ball lands, that's considered a punt, and that's where you would take over. And so they added that to the game. I really like that feature. And again, if you roll 3 dice, it can go further. But any doubles of any kind, and the kick is blocked, and the ball is right where you kicked it from. So
we had that, right? Didn't we in the second game? We
did have a block kick,
double 5 or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
We did have a block kick in that. I've actually taken it a step further. I've added one wrinkle to the kicking, whereas after you get a touchdown, okay, instead of trying to go for the touchdown and to get the conversion, which again you can keep going and going and going as long as you can get the conversion. A good conversion, so you can really run up the score. What I've done is after the touchdown, you can elect to kick for extra points. And you can put the kick anywhere on the field and roll either 2 or 3 dice using the same rules. Doubles is blocked. And if you get it over the line, it's good. So if you want to try to kick a 10-point extra point, you can do that and roll the dice and see if you get it over the line. Again, blocks come into play. Whether it's good or not, that's all your conversions. So in other words, once you kick the ball, that's it. So and you got to do it immediately after a touchdown. So let's just say you get a touchdown. Let's just say it's the 4th possession and you tie the game and you're like, something, I just want to kick a 1 or a 2-point field goal or extra point just to get the win. You can do that, just roll 2 dice as long as you don't get doubles, you get it. And I kind of put that into play, kind of similar to the Canadian Rouge. I wanted to kind of put something in there where you could, get a cheap point, so to speak, in the game. So that's kind of what I did with the kick. So if you, after the touchdown, put it wherever you want, kick it, you get that many points if it's good. But if if you get it, that's it. Your conversions are over, and the other team takes over at midfield. So you kind of give that away too. Whereas if you go for the conversion and you don't make it on but running or passing, wherever it is, that's where they take over.
Right.
So that's kind of what I did with that. And I also threw in just a little wrinkle there too, whereas if you try the kick from beyond midfield, okay, so let's just say you're going to roll 3 dice and you're trying to kick a 12-point conversion. If you miss it, okay, and when it comes up short, I should say, it still goes back to midfield. So it's midfield or whatever is better for the other team. So if you try it from the 12 and it gets blocked, they get it from the 12.
You know what you should do?
And this has been fun. It's just been one little thing.
You should do? If you do that and they miss, you should roll. You should have it as a return and just roll 1 die, and that's where they take over.
I could, yeah. I mean, that's something to think about too.
You can always take the fair catch and take it at midfield, but if it's really short, you roll 1 die. You can, yeah.
Yep, that's an option too, is to roll for a return.
The old arena league.
Yep.
Because once the ball, if you miss the kick,
hits the net,
you can play it off the net.
Yeah, that's an idea too, and and that's something that maybe I'll add in season 2. Maybe in season 2, I will allow for a return on a missed kick. And roll 1 or 2 die or whatever it is. But that's something to add. That's the great thing about this fictional game, is you can do all kinds of crazy things. All right, so now while we have some people here in the chat room, I want to ask this question here that was brought up on our Facebook page, and I absolutely love this question. And this was from Ronnie Wyatt, and he put this question up.
Yep.
And let me read the question, and we'll read some of the answers, and we'll get your responses here in the chat room. And why I love this post is this is what the Digital to Dice Facebook group really is for. It's to get a discussion going. It's to talk about games. And I know people posted replays, and that's all well and good. And, we all can see what everybody's playing and results in the whole bit. But I love stuff like this. So he says, just curious. Imagine you are scheduled for a very busy day today. You know that you have no time for gaming. But out of the blue, something happens and you get 1 free hour to play a game. What one and only one game would you grab first? No ands, no ors. Right now, today. What would you play? So he says he would grab a game. He would play a game of shootout hockey. is what
He's
his
really
answer.
getting into that too.
Yeah, he is. He's liking that. So that's the question is you had a busy day and the whole bit, and all of a sudden, let's just say, you had a work call, and they're like, okay, the meeting's pushed back from 1 to 2, and you happen to be at your house and you were going to take this phone call, and you're like, okay, well, I have 1 hour. What am I going to play in that 1 hour? Now, obviously, that rules out a lot of games unless you just want to play a period or a quarter or something like that. But let me read you some of the responses. So Michael chimes in and says, a quick game of PC replay baseball that will end up going 15 innings.
Yes.
Yes, because you only have an hour.
That's always the way, right?
Yeah. John says 4 games of Hockey Blast Express with stats. Okay.
Wow.
Daryl, Action PC Basketball. You're not getting that in an hour, Daryl.
You can if you don't stream it.
Maybe. That's a long game. That's a possession by possession game. That's a long game. I can't even get a hockey game in an hour, just playing by myself. Glenn says 2nd and 10 football.
Yep.
Maybe an hour. Joe Cards, Hockey Blast Express, he says, great question, Ronnie White. Yes, it was. Bill says Dynasty League Baseball. Tom says Digital Diamond Baseball. Kyle, Replay Baseball.
Yeah.
Bob says History Maker Baseball. JJ, that's a good question. I think the only game I can play and do in an hour is Hockey Blast. Bob says Status Pro Baseball. And Justin says just an hour. Well, it looks like maybe Bank Shot Basketball.
Okay.
Oh, that's another long play basketball game. I'd be surprised if you can do that in an hour. I heard that's a long game. But if you can, then good for you. Michael says, I would get at least 2 periods of strat hockey played. Maybe the whole game if there wasn't that many penalties. Yep. David says payoff pitch. And Brandon says scoreboard baseball, a great underrated game. RJL, well, what do you think he's going to say? Inside pitch. You would be correct. Yeah, Robert would play inside pitch, of course. Stuart, I would play a quick round of Action BC golf. Oh, you're a braver man than me, that's for sure. Michael says Status Pro. I play slow, but I'd hope I get the game in 1 hour. Sean says I would play a quick game for one of my replays I'm doing in Action PC Baseball. And Jim says for him, it's 100% Hockey Bones. Such a great game. Boy, it'd be tough to get that done in an hour, boy. I know some people can fly through it, and I've flown through some games too, but boy, an hour's tough for that. Usually if I get it on a quick pace, it's 25 minutes a period. 20 if things go well and there's not a lot of penalties, But anyway, so that's our question here. That was, and I love those questions. Keep those questions coming. That was Ronnie. That was a fantastic question right there. Let's see. In the chat room here, Michael says History Maker Baseball. Of course, it's his favorite game. He does a good job with that. Arnold likes his Fast Drive Football.
He clearly could do that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's really good. And Richard also adds that so many options with Fury Football, so many things you can do. Yeah, when you get a game like Fury Football is one of those games where you can't take it too seriously because it's a fictional game and it's not real football and it's not real baseball, it's not real anything, that you can really kind of modify that, until the cows come home and who's going to know? I mean, I know that the game has rules and the whole bit and you want to play by that the best you can, but in a fictional game, to add some of your own things.
It's really your game, your rules.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Richard also adds that in 1 hour, he might get through a tournament of Let's Play Tennis.
Okay.
I've yet to play that. I have it, but I haven't played it yet. And Ben says, so many games to choose from, but at the moment, Lamburn Games Championship Boxing would be his choice.
Okay.
So now let me put that question to you. So Ronnie's question to you. You got 1 hour. They said, hey, Ron, guess what? We're not going to test the fire alarms for 1 hour. What are you going to play?
So Ronnie's question to Ronnie, it would take me 45 minutes to figure out what the hell I wanted to play.
I know, right?
I was like, I can do it. It would have to be baseball of some sort. But with the qualifier being if you don't have to finish it. So if I had a game of strap basketball or solitaire pro football going, then I could just do that for an hour. But if in the spirit of the question is pick it, it would probably be baseball because you can get it done in 20 minutes unless it goes, as Pesky Poll said, 15 or 16 innings. It's one of those things that just never fails. Let me get that quick game in before bed. Come to bed, honey. But yeah, baseball is about the only full play one that I would feel comfortable in.
I'm trying to. I'm looking over.
I had time to spare.
I'm looking over my shoulder here at all the games I got in my boxes, and over here on the shelf is there anything like in any of those boxes that I could play? There's a couple of quick play Downey games over there.
The quick play games you could obviously do. Full play. Because you're the king of, just one more, I'll play this quick game of baseball.
It's a tough question for me to ask because, again, it really all comes down to the mood that I'm in. And, what have I been playing? What haven't I played in a while? What do I have the itch to play? What sport am I looking to play right now?
For me, it'd have to be a computer-based game just because it would take long enough to set up that then you just kind of go through the whole, I've got an hour. And again, by the time that you figure it out, you've taken half hour, 45 minutes and screw it.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on it either because I have so many, games that it depends what I'm in the mood for. It really is. I mean, I don't know if it'd be a hockey game, a football game, or a baseball game. I don't know if it'd be Fury football because I can, it's a 10-minute setup and I can play a couple games in, 15, 20 minutes so I could get a couple games in an hour. He chose shootout hockey, and that's not a bad one. You can take 2 cards out, get your ratings, and you could be playing a game in 2 or 3 minutes and start flipping cards if you wanted to do it that way. So you can definitely get a game of shootout, and you could probably get 2 or 3 games of shootout in an hour. Appa baseball is another one I could probably bang out.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think my baseball is the popular choice because you can play it in 20 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
My honest answer is if I got a game that I've already started, I would just take that time to do the hour to finish it up, just because all the work's done. I've either started the game or what I need to fill out is already filled out, and I can just kind of go from there.
I guess my question would be: is A, do I have to finish the game?
Right.
And B, if it's a tabletop game, does that hour, is that just game time? Does that include my setup? Because some games take me half hour to set up, depending what I'm doing. So I guess there would be a couple of questions for me, like, is it just go? You have 60 minutes starting now. Pick a game, and you have to be done and put it away in 60 minutes. So that would limit really what I would play.
For me, it would have to be baseball at that point. It would probably be something that I would have to know cold. So Strata roster card. Yeah. Something that I know I could get in. Because even Action PC can take over an hour.
Yeah. I'd like to kind of add to that in kind of to the flip side. Okay. You're Burgess Meredith in the Twilight Zone. And you have a watch, and you can stop time. You hit that watch, you stop time. What would you play if time was not the issue? That if you didn't just have an hour, what if you had unlimited time? You stop the stopwatch, the world stops, the dogs aren't going to bark, the phone's not going to ring.
That's when you do the full baseball season replay.
Yeah, and you just sit there, you don't get hungry, you don't have to go to the bathroom or anything like that. Let's just say it's like, oh, man. I'm banging this out.
You're doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the other.
I might even pull out Appa basketball at that point.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Steven says these days I play a 3-game set at my homebrew of fast inning baseball. Yep. And he uses Excel, so it's not much to set up. Yep. So good stuff there. All right. Before we,
you want to talk about Pete Rose?
I do. Yeah. Before we, there's not much else here on my list to talk about. We've kind of kicked a few things around here. Let's talk about Pete Rose. All righty. So Charlie Hustle passed away, I guess, just a few days ago. He was at an autograph signing event, from what I've seen. So
I think I saw a picture as late as the 29th, so it may have been Sunday.
So he must have went home and passed away. Yeah. So, Here are some of my thoughts real quick. Obviously, growing up in the 70s and the 80s, seeing him play and his
he
production.
was everywhere.
He could hit, he could field. I mean, he played all these different positions. I mean, he was crashing into people in the All-Star game. He had one speed, and it was just like, constant. That's what his speed was. A very competitive guy in the whole bit. Not a big power hitter, but boy, he could hit those singles and doubles, and he was running the bases, and he was fielding the ball. I mean, just so good at what he did, and everybody knew who he was. And then he was a manager, and I remember him managing, and I remember being working in a machine shop in the late 80s, early 90s, and that's when he was managing. And it was sad when I found out he was betting on baseball, but then even back then, when I found out that he wasn't betting on his team to lose, he was betting on his team, but he was betting on his team to win. At the time, even then, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Not a good thing to do, not a smart thing to do. But again, if you're betting on your team to lose and you lose, that would be pretty egregious.
Here's the reason why you never bet on your team to win or lose. Because if they know that you bet on your team to win, you're giving the bookie a hell of a lot of information when you don't bet on your team. And so, although it wasn't a fixing games per se, if you bet to win 4 straight and you don't bet on the 5th day, you're giving away an awful lot of information there.
But again, so it to me,
he wasn't throwing the games, but he didn't have the confidence, and so that
But in a way, it's. I don't want to say it this way, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's almost like a victimless crime. No one gets hurt. No one gets killed. You're betting on a game.
Well,
maybe you're tipping your hat to betting, but I mean, we're talking 80s and 90s. It's not like it is today where it's a multi-billion-dollar business and you got the fantasy stuff and everything like that. It just seemed like back in the day it was.
There are players who would argue with you that their careers were ruined because he used them too much to win those bets. There are careers that were shortened because of those bets.
Maybe.
So
maybe.
No.
I mean,
no. It's not. That's not a maybe. That's a for sure.
I mean, I guess how much did he bet? How many games? How many years did he bet? Which ones they were? I don't know. I just think that there's people in the Hall of Fame right now that have done way more things, way more egregious things. They've committed crimes. They've been in jail. Between baseball and football, there's a lot of bad people in the Hall of Fames. And you're going to not allow a guy in because he bet on his own team to win, not on his own team to lose. And and like Michael says now, I mean, especially today with baseball, all the sports have. What about the hockey player that gambled? He's skating around with a gambling emblem on his helmet, and he gets kicked out of the league for gambling. I mean, you got to pick a lane here. Is gambling bad or is gambling? And I know that you don't want the players and coaches, gambling because now that can affect what's going on. So I kind of
Ohtani's interpreter stealing millions of dollars from Ohtani to gamble. I mean, that's what.
But I mean, what's the keep if I'm playing? What's to keep me from telling my brother? You know something? I'm going to go stink tonight. So bet on the other team. What's to prevent that? It's like insider trading with politicians. How many politicians sell off their stocks a day before something crashes or buy stocks a day before it goes up? It's like, well, somebody tipped them off. So that stuff's just going to happen. But
here's the thing with Rose. All he ever had to do was admit what he did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, part of that was himself kind of.
If he admits what he did, he in time gets forgiven and he gets in the hall while he's alive. But until someone waved a book deal in front of his face, he didn't admit it. Oh no, I never bet on it. So so yes, I see where you're going with that to a degree. But he did a lot of that to himself.
He did. But I just think a lot of the Hall of Fame stuff too. There's people who are not in the Hall of Fame because the press doesn't like them.
Right.
And there's, you look at some people in the Hall of Fame and you look at their stats and you're like, boy, you're in, but this guy's not. You have half the stats that this guy has. So why is this guy not in? Oh, it's because he mouthed off to the press. It's almost like just a popularity contest, and it's a good old boys network of, if you're in with us, then you're all set, and if you're not, it's going to be real hard. I don't know. Again, it's gambling. It's not like he murdered somebody.
Well, we did some things. We did some things with some underage girls.
No, don't know that. If he did that, then that's not good either. Okay, that's not good.
It's not. I mean, no one's ever going to accuse Pete Rose of being a saint of a person.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just think, looking at those numbers, I mean, I don't know if anywhere in the Hall of Fame it says, you get in the Hall of Fame, but we also have a code of conduct that you have to follow.
Well, there kind of is a code of conduct.
But there's a lot of bad people in there
I'm not disagree with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very selective, I think. So I kind of felt bad for him. I think toward the end, he was kind of I saw him on TV a few times, and he wasn't looking good as he got older.
He was older.
And I felt bad for him. And I just think, we forgive so much in this society. We just do. I mean, Michael Vick went back to playing football. Okay? Yep. And what he did, I consider to be way worse than what Pete Rose did. Okay? As an animal lover, I consider that. I even kind of forgave Michael Vick a little bit. But my wife didn't. She hates the guy. But for me, I'm like, okay, you got tied up in some bad things. You took your sentence. You actually tried to redeem yourself. You donated money to dog shelters or whatever he did. He at least tried.
There is a penance there. I mean, look at people like Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden, who, pretty much we know what they did. And, you hand someone monopoly money that didn't have it growing up and expect people to behave.
Yeah.
Or the competition, in Rose's case, the ultimate competition type deal. I mean, Charlie hustled for a reason. And at some point, you got to keep that excitement going in your head. And so it's not just the day-to-day grind of things. He broke in Cops record. And there was, so now what? How do I keep that?
Well, what about Michael Jordan? Didn't Michael Jordan bet a lot too when they say that's why he left basketball?
Allegedly, one of the great conspiracy theories that can't be proven was that when he retired after the third championship, that David Stern suspended him. So we will not call it a suspension. You can, and he'll go play baseball and do what you want to do. But Jordan went to Vegas and bet. I mean, Phil Mickelson. The reason why he joined the Live Tour was because he apparently, had 9-figure gambling debts. It just it's a habit. I mean, and we can get into whether legalized gambling is a good thing or a bad thing. It's kind of a weird thing. I gotta say, even as a kid, I was never a Rose fan. He never he was everywhere. He never gave me the warm and fuzzies, I suppose, for an athlete. He was a hard-nosed type player. That was always an amped-up type deal.
Yeah.
As opposed to Steve Garvey, let's say someone else who's not necessarily a Boy Scout when it comes to airline stewardesses and all of that. But, he always came across as, or Reggie Jackson, who, no one loved Reggie more than Reggie. But Reggie
I do. I love Reggie.
Well, I'm about to say, but I mean, Reggie was, a showman of the era. And not that Pete didn't back up his shtick or anything like that, but it's like, it's interesting because I'm doing 88 in the Action PC replay, and Cincinnati is going to win that division unless the skies open up and swallow players. I think at this point they have a 4.5 game lead with like 9 days to go in the season. So, how you doing, Summer Roads lead there? So in the storylines in my head, as he says, let's go Mets, that's appropriate because the Mets have already clinched the other division, is that series is going to be the Mets and the Reds unless they absolutely collapse over the last week of the season. And so in my head, I'm going, Rose never made the playoffs as a manager. So I've got that storyline going on. And then he goes and dies. And so here we go with with that, so here's the whole thing with that. Billy Martin was another person that was a talented manager, always got fired with legitimate, again, you just like, you're not a likable person. You did great things over the course of your career. You're not a likable person, but remember, he died on Christmas Day. He went to check his mailbox and either had a heart attack driving to his mailbox or was drunk and crashed into it and died. Yeah. One of those. So, yeah, I did the trivia game, and I know that people love Pete Rose. People, so, bite your tongue for that. I guess he should get in the Hall now. I really didn't want him to make any money off it. I think that, for just me personally, that if he had come clean when he was suspended back in '89, after the couple years, yeah, I bet on baseball and I'm sorry. Okay, we'll let you in, because he would have gotten a job in Cincinnati, lickety split, and would have been good for that. But we are our own worst enemies.
Again, you kind of hit the point I was making. He's not a likable guy to some people, and that makes a difference. If you're not likable, then that can turn your opinion on somebody. I kind of think, and I think part of it right now with me anyway is, he's passed away. And anytime somebody passes away, you tend to be a little less mad at him for some of the things that he did. I mean, unless it's obviously there's some people who have done some really bad things in this world in my lifetime that, yes, I don't care what happens to you when you die. Yeah, you're a bad person. And
I'm still not an OJ fan.
Yeah. But I mean, there's some people that, again, something like this, gambling, he's passed away now. Can we just, ease up a little bit on this guy, things like that. I mean, anytime somebody dies, like, I never really liked that person, but, they're dead, so I'm not going to talk bad about him anymore. And, maybe it wasn't as bad as we remember now that they're gone, because while they're alive, they can still be a jerk, I guess, and so, but anyway, and Andrew says, Rose is never remorseful.
Yeah, and all, for me, he was great with the Phillies. Yep. I said this the other day. I mean, in between 70 and 83, he went to the World Series, I think, 6 times and won 3.
Yeah, I forgot he spiked the ball. But Albert brought this point up here. The real spirit of the no gambling rule is don't lose games intentionally, and Rose never did that. That was kind of my point too, Albert, is, and that goes for anybody too. It's like, you bet on yourself to play well, or you bet on the team to do well. Again, it's not right, and Ron made a good point about how that butterfly effect can affect other people or affect gambling.
Also, the rule that was posted in every major league clubhouse: no gambling.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't that the steroid argument, getting to Bonds and Clemens and McGuire to some degree, that was a gray area thing until 2004. It was pretty cut and dried. You don't bet on your own sport.
Yeah.
And so
when it comes to the steroid thing, I
have no trouble with Bonds or Clemens being put in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely none.
I'm trying to find a way to say this. I kind of don't care what somebody did to their body to play at the highest level. Okay? Again, I wear glasses to help me see better. Some people inject stuff in their arms to make them stronger. If that's going to make them stronger, faster, better for the game, that way they can make more money at it. They can be a better player. Now I know it's going to wreck their body, so maybe that was the whole thing with steroids, is that we don't want you doing steroids because you're going to wreck your body, and we don't want to be... Wow, what was that?
Truck pass hit.
That's the truck.
Someone needing some Viagra on the streets of Burlington.
Yeah. I did. Like I say, when I just, that whole steroid thing, it was just like, you're not hurting anybody but yourself. You know, it's not like you're making someone else take it and they're gonna get sick from it. It's like you did it to yourself, and I guess more power to you. I've yet to have someone bring up a good argument about that. I suppose maybe you could in the whole bit, and how many people maybe got wrecked from this stuff. And I saw, was it Mark Gastineau? He looked pretty bad when he got older from that stuff there. But I mean, that's he did that to himself to try to play the game at the highest level. And we all do things during our day. We could all eat better. We could all, exercise more. There's all things that we could do to make ourselves better. And look at Tom Brady. He had the cleanest diet, and that's why at 45 years old, he looked like he was 25, So good for him. He didn't eat ice cream, I do eat ice cream, so that's why I'm not going to be Tom Brady,
Right.
So, the steroid thing was a kind of I didn't see what the big deal was, but if it's a rule, it's a rule,
Yeah.
Let's see, Richard says, I think one thing sports games sort of condition as far as separating the sports personality from the real person. That's why I can still play O.J. Simpson's in the 70s tabletop football with enjoy. I'm the same way, too.
Completely understand that.
Yes,
Completely understand that.
I can play O.J. as well. Not that I'm really rooting for him, but I mean, I'm looking at O.J. the player. Okay? I'm not looking at O.J. after he got out of football and what he did or didn't do after that. I kind of look at the O.J. the player. And again, we all have different opinions about players, but there's some players that were complete bastards that I can play now, like the Canadians from the 70s and the Yankees from the 70s and 80s. I hated those teams growing up as a kid because they had always beat the Boston teams.
But you never heard anything bad about you.
No, but what I'm saying is I can go back and play those teams now,
right?
And I've kind of forgiven them in my own mind. Mm-hmm. For the misery they caused my childhood. And so it's kind of the same with some of these other stuff. That now, again, you're talking about murder and stuff like that. That is terrible stuff and whatever. But, there's something, like I say, I'm not going to take his card and throw it away, and stuff like that. No. I mean, he's part of the history. Pete Rose, O.J. Simpson, all these, they're part of history. They're part of our sports history. They're part of the sports.
I don't want to put Rose in the same category as O.J. Simpson because that,
No, but what I'm saying is that there's someone who had a super career in sports, and then after they were done or they were coached, whatever it was, then bad things started happening around them. Okay, and allegedly,
Taylor is a good example of that. 80s New York. I mean, they snorted everything that came their way. Him and Dexter Manley, with the Redskins. So we started selling the retro jerseys when I worked at the store for the NFL. So I bought a Lawrence Taylor jersey. I spent a good chunk of money on a Lawrence Taylor jersey, being a Giant fan. Mm-hmm. And then a week later, he gets caught with a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, And so, so I think that's the type of thing that we're talking about with that. Okay, on the field, Lawrence Taylor, Pete Rose, two of the best ever in their respective things. But as far as would I want to go and have a beer with these people?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably more apt comparison of like it does get hard to separate. And that people did certain things. It does kind of get hard to separate that out. But I don't begrudge anyone who wants to replay anything of O.J. Simpson's. I mean, he was a legitimate hero.
Yeah, and he broke all kinds of records, and people loved him back in the day, and he had some funny commercials and funny movies and the whole bit, and it's too bad that
Tiger Woods is another example of someone who has not led a choir boy life off there, and he's the best ever, not just in golf, but ever.
It's a tough thing because you want to, hold people to a certain moral standard. And again, do I want to play O.J. Simpson on my tabletop and say he's the best guy ever and have to look at what he allegedly did or didn't do? That's a tough thing to deal with there. But he's part of the history, and so is Pete Rose and a bunch of other people too that have done some bad things. They're there, and it's I don't know. Again, when we're not playing, St. Augustus Church versus St. Michael's of the Holy Savior Church here, we're playing professional athletes,
Right.
and a lot of them have done some bad things. I mean, chances are, if I go through my closet, look at all my Apple football cards, there's going to be some bad dudes in there. So anyway, let's get back to the chat room here. A couple more things to talk about here. So Some Roads leads their ass out. Who do we consider the single season home run record holder?
Bonds.
Bond, and he says that for him it's Bonds is 73, but it's an interesting debate. And Richard says, in addition, we condemned all kind of people selectively. Basically, the entire Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line in the 70s was on steroids. Yeah, I will agree with that. This is one rule that we all live by. Pretty much everybody lives by, is that if we don't like you, we tend to vilify you. And if we do like you, we tend to forgive you for the same exact thing. And that goes for, our relatives. That goes for politics. Sure. That goes for sports. I mean, how many times out here in Boston I listen on the sports radio, and shortstop for the Yankees suspended for using PEDs. What are they? PEDs, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna kick this guy out of baseball forever. This and that, and then the next day, it's like, the third baseman for the Red Sox has been caught with PEDs. That wasn't PEDs. That wasn't PEDs. That was just vitamins. The trainer gave him vitamins, and they tested it. So it's like, okay, so when it's somebody you don't like on the Yankees, he's got to be banned for life. But when it's a guy on your team, you want to overlook it. And I think that's the rule that we all live by, is that we're very biased.
We root for the laundry.
We're very selective on what we want to enforce. And that goes into all aspects of our life. That we can look at the TV and say, this person's bad. And then this person does the same thing. Oh, well, no, this person's not so bad. They did the same thing, So it's like, come on, just you can't kid a kidder, But yeah, so that's some of the things there. Joshua's got a question for me. Players who took steroids hurt players who didn't. First example, Mike Greenwell didn't, but didn't win an MVP because a cheater did. Well, again, I go back to it. Jim Rice, if he had worn contact lenses, like Ron always says, could he have won won a World Series? But he didn't. He chose not to put in contact lenses. He couldn't see the ball. And that's that. And I'm not that I'm trying to equate steroids to contact lenses, but here's someone who did something to make themselves better. You're going to say that?
Yeah, but it wasn't legal. That's the thing.
What if you decided to eat really good and, exercise and not smoke and not drink? What if you did you had the clean, like Tom Brady lifestyle? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's going to make you better too. Is that unfair because someone else decided to smoke cigarettes and have a candy bar?
You play by the rules. We all have rules that we have to follow.
I mean, I get it. I guess that's a technicality that if you can't do steroids, the rule said you can't do steroids and you did them, you're right. You broke the rules. But it just seems like that. And
Major League Baseball looked the other way for years.
But I mean, there's so many things in sports that have changed over the years. Like if you go back and watch old sports, I mean, these people should be kicked out of the game for some of the things they did, and they didn't. Like bench clearing in hockey. If you clear the bench, if you leave the bench now, it's 10 or 15 games. Back then,
times change and expectations change.
So I mean, it's just again, I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody using steroids. I'm just kind of trying to bring out an argument here that just.
Well, the thing with steroids is it doesn't necessarily make you better. The thing with steroids is that when you do anabolic steroids, you still have to go to the gym and work out. What the steroids does is it makes you recover faster from your workouts.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's where the advantage comes in. When my dad, in the mid-'80s, was when blood doping started to become a thing. Now, we're going to go off the beaten path here. And what for cyclists, such as the Tour de France, and speed skiers, which is different from downhill skiers and all of that. And so what they would do is they would take the plasma out of their blood, freeze it, and put it back into their bodies, and it would give them a chemical reaction, and they'd get that 2 or 3 miles an hour faster. Wow. Clearly was illegal. Clearly was that. I mean, but on the other hand, there's the old NASCAR saying, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. I mean, everyone tries to go to the rules, whatever, to the limit of whatever they are. But there are lines. Sometimes they do.
I get it, but just some of those lines, though, like the whole deflating of the ball by Tom Brady, supposedly.
Well, that was dumb. That was dumb.
It's like, come on, and then when they gave him, quote, the properly inflated balls, he actually played better in the second half. So it just kind of blew away that theory. And I think it's a technicality. People are trying to win on a technicality sometimes. And, okay, so if steroids are illegal, but I mean, are they legal now or not? No? Okay, yeah, I don't know how all that goes. I thought something had changed with all that and the whole bit.
No.
No. So, and I don't know why it's not. Again, I don't know why that if you can't do what you want to do to you. I mean, because it can physically hurt you, especially if you're a young growing body. But going to the gym every day could technically hurt you too. If and some people are going to go to the gym every day, and it's like
same thing with the energy drinks. I mean, there's been baseball players who've died because they drank too much 5-hour energy.
Oh, yeah.
Then it changed the stuff in there. I mean, anytime you're injecting a substance into your body, you're taking a risk. I mean, I'm going to go have my, vaccines for the winter, and then I'm going to feel terrible for 36 hours afterwards. But, that's the risk that, there's a risk that you take when you do that.
Yeah. But I just think that the risk is on you, and it's just, and it sucks that if I would have taken steroids and you didn't, and I had a better season than you, and you quote did it the right way,
and you won the honors, I'd be upset.
Yeah, I don't understand this. Just and I've heard other people say this. Just make it legal, and then everybody can do it. And if everybody wants to jeopardize their body to get to the highest level for a few years, then do it. I'm not understanding. But again, they have their ways to do it, and I'm not in charge, and so that's that. And Arnold said, "This is one of the best shows that we've ever had." Well, I appreciate that. Just a open heart-to-heart talk. We're just sports guys talking here is what we're doing. There's no right or wrong here. Just kind of having opinions. And David, I brought up Lyle Alzado, I think. No, I said Gastineau. It was Lyle Alzado, I think it was. Anybody's interested in taking steroids to watch videos of Lyle Alzado and watch what happened to him. Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah, he was tough. I think I said Gastineau, didn't I?
Yeah. Gastineau, I'm sure it is fair stuff too. But. Yeah,
but Lyle Alzado was the sorry, Greg. I didn't mean to bring up Gastineau. It was Lyle Alzado.
Brain cancer, wasn't it?
Oh, he was a skeleton when he. Who was the one that was with the Bridget girl there, the blonde girl? Bridget?
That was Gastineau.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think he looked too good either toward the end,
Well, football does terrible things to your body to begin with.
Yeah. Gus says the cat is attending. You should have seen the cat earlier. Holy cow. Cat was putting on a show.
Yeah, she's asleep now. She's worn out from that. So...
So anyway, we just want to have a little chat, a little fireside chat tonight about what's going on with us. And my schedule just over the weekend was ridiculous. It should be. I'm still working this weekend here, but hopefully it'll be a little bit better this week. I'm not doing 5 games a day. It was kind of fun, and seeing all the players come in from Montreal down here and watching them play, and that was a good time. It was some great hockey down here. It really was. Everyone seems to like the haircut. Holy cow. Someone else talked about your haircut too, so I'm kind of thinking to get that OnlyFans going tonight while you get that haircut, and everyone's all raving about it, right? So, anyway, for me personally now, I'm in my busy season, and if you followed the show after, for the last 5 years or so, this is the time of year that I just go from rink to rink to rink to rink, and then from the bed to shower to the rink, and then I gotta get some retail therapy, because it's just like, okay, I'm doing all this work. I need to spend a little bit of this money on something fun, and that's when I order a season from App or a Strat or a Play or try out a new game or something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do something soon. I know I did my Play unboxing with the Football Fury mat and the teams. But it's I'm kind of getting that itch to play something and getting that itch to get another season of some kind. I'm not sure what or how or when, But yeah, I'm gonna have to get some retail therapy going because it's just all work, no play. That type of thing.
Right.
And so even though I got plenty of stuff to play, and I will be playing it, that every now and then it's nice to get something in new that just feels new, that it is new to you and the whole bit. So I need to get that retail therapy going. Anyway, here, let me see here. And the Black Friday show's coming up too. I still have something from last Black Friday that I haven't unboxed, and I'm gonna have to do that pretty soon.
The Gatorade we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, no, that Gatorade's a couple of Black Fridays ago.
So who are our 3 stars?
Yeah. Let's take a look at our 3 stars here, shall we here? So I don't know if I got my sound effects over here. I guess I could do that here. Let me see. In no particular order here. Let me see. I had them written down over here. Well, let me get
Ronnie Wyatt should be a star because he asked that great question.
Yeah, that's a good one too. All right, yeah. So our first star is going to be in no particular order. Ronnie Wyatt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Ronnie, thank you so much. That was a fantastic question that he put in our Digital to Dice Facebook group. And again, that question was, if you had 1 hour only, what game would you play in that hour? And we got some terrific responses. And I couldn't really answer that question myself too well, but I did kind of agree with him that probably shootout. The cat and Dave's dog should get the stars. My dog should definitely get a star. He's handling his chemotherapy like a champ, and he's been doing quite well. He's back to barking again and running around. So he's in remission right now. How long, we don't know, but we're happy that he is where he is, and then at some point we'll deal with it down the line. But anyway, thank you so much for Ronnie Wyatt there, number 3 star. Our number 2 star is in the chat room right now, David C.
Woohoo!
David C., thank you so much for being a supporter of the show and of the channel and being here in the chat room tonight. So David C. is here. Live to hear his name.
He's got his Baltimore Ravens voodoo dolls at the ready after what happened to Buffalo the other night.
Yeah. And yes, thank you, Andrew. The dog is, compared to where he was, it is. And our number 3 star, number 1 star, again, we have the 3 stars, not in any particular order.
Right.
We're going to give it to Kent tonight in North Carolina. He was in the chat room earlier. Kent, this is just a shout out to you. Thanks for coming in the chat tonight. What you guys going through is absolutely ridiculous. Again, I've talked to some people that have been through that there. It is just, boy, that hurricane just wiped out. It's like a big eraser. It just wiped out part of the country and I just can't imagine. I was talking to somebody today on the hockey show that now they just got power back after 5 or 6 days, and he said I'm one of the lucky ones down here. So it is pretty bad, but I know they're down there. They're doing their best cleaning up, and then the power crew's been going like crazy trying to get the power back up for people and trying to get at least some water to everybody. And just can't imagine, just can't imagine it. And we had talked a few years ago about moving to Florida, and so far, I'm kind of glad we didn't because they've been getting nailed with weather down there. And it's just, one of our neighbors has a house down there, and it got destroyed one of the last hurricanes. They just got it fixed up, and now she says her street's flooded again. I'm like, oh, man. But, when sometimes she's down there when the place is not destroyed. It looks really nice, But, yeah, the down there, it's terrible. So Kent, David, and Ronnie, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being a part of this here. Ed comes by a little bit late in the show. Thanks for coming by, Ed. And we had a nice discussion tonight. We talked a little bit about Pete Rose. We talked a little bit about what would you play. We talked about what's going on with us. And we didn't talk about organizing our games. But if you need any tips on organizing games, this guy's right here, Gilles Thibault, just logged in and caught this. What is planned for retail therapy? I don't know yet. I don't know. Chances are it's going to be an Apple football or hockey season. That's just kind of what I do. I just picked up a bunch of stuff from Play, so I don't think I need to do anything from Play. I'm looking around here.
I'm telling you, just a couple of games I've played in Strat Hockey and looking at some of the teams. There's some fun teams from last year.
Yeah.
I know you're not a huge fan of modern hockey, but there's some good players and some good teams.
I do want to pick up the new. I do want to get the new Action PC hockey and the new Strat hockey.
Right.
So that'll be on the list.
Yeah.
Of something like that. So I do want to do that. Jeffrey Edwards come by. Thanks for coming by, Jeff. And Ed says Pete belongs in the Hall of Fame. I think at this point, yeah. I mean, you made your point. You waited him out. You know, he just kind of died. He's old. He's grumpy. You know. Okay, he didn't see himself go in. Okay, if that's what you wanted to accomplish, then good for you there. So anyway, that's going to wrap up show 239 here. Again, ways to get a hold of us. digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. Facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And the email, digitaltodice@yahoo.com. All righty, so I got another busy weekend here. Not nearly as busy as last weekend, so I'm kind of hoping you'll see me. I got 3 games Saturday and just 1 Sunday. So I'm kind of hoping either early Sunday or late Sunday you'll see me here. So I shouldn't be too wiped out. And so I'll be able to get something going here on the channel. I want to finish up my 19. Oh, maybe tomorrow night, Thursday night. I might be doing one of my 79 playoff games. We're winding it down. I think there's, 1 game left and then the Super Bowl, right? I think that's what I got.
You got Tampa, New Orleans.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh beat San Diego. San Diego was terrible in that game. Pittsburgh wasn't that good either, but they're winning. So, so they play the winner of the New Orleans-Tampa game. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if I get my Tampa Bay-Pittsburgh Super Bowl that I've played a few times already. And let's see if I get the truck that I bought there to replace the one that's always in the shop. I told Ron that story about what happened when I went in there and was yelling at the guy and just, So bottom line, I didn't tell the guy, but the bottom line is I need you to fix my car because I'm trading it in because I never want to drive it again. I love it when it works, but it's just always in the shop, And I can't believe I got down the end of my street and the warning light went off, and I was just like, man, what if I was halfway there? I'm 45 minutes into an hour and a half ride, and my car dies at 6 a.m. on the highway. That screws up everything. So, so hopefully this other car will not. It's not new by any means, but it's newer. So we'll see how it goes. But all right, that'll wrap things up here. Ron, thanks for joining me.
As always.
Everybody in the chat room, thanks for coming by and providing some answers to our questions and chiming in. We had a good time with you tonight. Something we like to do once in a while is record the show live and get some feedback going here. So this is more of a fireside chat, and then we got a little chance to talk about Pete Rose as well. So I'm Dave.
I'm Ron.
And we'll talk to everyone later.
Bye-bye.